All right, so I am recording this right now to go through a demo on how to make a virtual gallery space. Now, this assignment is meant to be kind of a portfolio of yours where you show and present the work that you've done this semester. You can include as many pieces as you like in this project, as long as you include at least 3. Now, with this, you can choose any kind of gallery space you might want to use. But the first thing I'm going to suggest is looking up like a plain white gallery or a plain modern gallery. And I'm going to look at images. So with these, if you see stuff on the walls and see stuff being presented, that can give you an idea for how you might want to arrange your pieces. But specifically, you want to look for a space that doesn't have anything in it, because you're going to be occupying it with your works. So I'm not seeing necessarily anything that I like here, so I'm going to change my search criteria. Modern white gallery. And again, looking at images, there we go. Here's some gallery spaces. So right now I'm trying to find the one that I want to fill with my work. So you can look for a plain wall, like some of these first ones, where you can just put multiple pieces next to each other. Or you could try to look for something that's more of an entire space, like this third one, that has the bench and the picture frames. You can use any combination, like I said. If you look up gallery interior or empty room interior, you might find something that fits what you like better, and you're welcome to use it. For right now, I think I'm going to grab let's see. I'm going to grab this. Oh no, it's got stock marks on it. I don't want stock marks, although it would be fairly easy to cover those up. But because you don't have as much experience with the tools that we're using, I'm not going to make you pick a photo that's got stock marks on it. With that, I'm going to go with this one instead. And even though this has Shutterstock on the bottom, we can crop it. So I'm going to click and hold, add to photos. Now from here, a lot of the work is going to be done in Autodesk Sketchbook. That's where you're going to have a lot of freedom and capabilities for putting things together. If you were in class, you can see here's my example that I started working on. We should have this on your iPads already. We did use it earlier in the semester to add color to your work. So I'm going to start a new sketch, and I'm going to leave it that horizontal, that landscape orientation, create, and I'm going to discard the current sketch. I don't really need it. So now you've got this plain blank thing with a lot of different options on what you can do. Along the top, there should be a line of icons, and this is especially helpful if you have your iPad also horizontal. If you have the stand up so it's on a surface, that works really well. If you're counting from the right hand side, not the left like normal, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 icons in to the one that's got the mountain and the plus, and that's how you insert a picture. So I'm going to grab that gallery space, and I'm going to pinch it and zoom it and move it around. Now, since I saved it as the thumbnail, it is a very small picture, so you might need to find a different picture. And on that note, I'm actually going to grab this other one that I had found before and use this one instead. Now, this one is also not quite the right scale, but that's all right. I'm going to line it up with the bottom and call it good. And now I'm going to hit done. Now I have the gallery space. I personally like really plain, minimalist galleries just because then they don't distract from your work. But if you want to put this in a rave, feel free. If you want to put this in a bedroom, you got it. If you want to put this in an aquarium and you're pretending that these are aquarium decorations, you knock yourself out. This can be as fun or as professional as you want it to be. Remember, this step, this thing that we're doing right now, is something that a lot of artists will do later in their career to plan out how they might use an exhibition space. So you can think about what the order you want your audience to see your pieces in. You could think about how you want to fill the space and where you want to leave emptiness. If you were doing a collaborative thing where there's multiple people participating, this could be a way to think about how the pieces relate to each other, even if they're made by different people or different media. So this is the point where you start picking what pieces you want to present. Do you want to include just your 3 best pieces? That's perfectly fine. Do you want to include every piece? There might not be enough space for you to include every piece, but you can use multiple pictures. If you're just doing 3, having 1 space should be fine. But if you want to do more than that, you can think about how you might occupy multiple rooms and how it would look as you go through them. So now that we've got our space, we have to start putting in pieces. And I realized that I was taking a lot of pictures of my example work using my phone rather than my iPad, so I don't have all the examples in here. But I'm still going to find ones that I think work well for this kind of situation. Now, right now, this picture is huge, and this would end up being a room-sized piece. And because we're doing this digitally, you can leave it whatever size you like. So if you want your pieces to look like they're the size of a boulder, have fun. If you want to make your pieces look like they're a completely different scale to what they actually are, that is an option that you have. And I am perfectly fine with you taking it. So here I have placed it. I'm going to hit done. And I'm going to take the eraser tool on the left-hand side. It's the 2 little white ones in the bottom left corner. And then I'm going to turn on the checkerboard because that's making sure that it's erasing. So here I can also change the size to erase out the background. I'm going to make this nice and big. You can see the circle getting larger as I'm dragging it, and I'm just going to erase, erase, erase. I'm going to make that even bigger. This is going to take forever if I don't make it bigger. Oop, don't need it that big. So as you're erasing, you should be able to see your background showing up. Now, one thing you might want to consider is leaving the shadow of your piece. Why is that taking so much effort to erase? Who knows? I'm going to use the harder edged one. Again, you can use this to size it up. That's making a clear erasure. So then, once you've erased your background, you might need to make your eraser a little bit smaller as you get closer to your piece. So I'm going to make this nice and close.
That's okay, no big deal. Here's a napkin.
Short strokes are your friends, because if you have to undo things, if you have done it in one long stroke, then you have to redo a lot of your work. Now, one thing you might be noticing in this moment is that my clay, my subject here, doesn't really match the lighting. And maybe you didn't notice it, and hopefully now that I have pointed it out, you can see that it doesn't quite match. The last thing I'm going to go over really quickly is showing you how to change that lighting or change the color of it, other than also changing the scale. So I need 1 second here. On the top row again of icons, 5th from the left this time, there are 4 arrows pointing out, and that's your transform tool. So I'm going to use that on this layer to choose where I actually want this to sit and how big I want it to be. And now when you click on the layer itself on the right hand side, you can click these HSL adjustment and color balance tools to change the color of your picture. Now, my gallery space right here is a fairly cool space, so I'm going to change this to not be quite so orange. Now this is too blue, it's too cool. It's still a little yellow. I'm just gonna adjust this. Yeah, it's too much. There we go. And I'm gonna hit done. Now it's also a little bit dark, so I'm gonna click that other tool, that HSL adjustment, and I'm just gonna make it a little bit lighter. That way it doesn't look like it's quite so shadowed. So with that, this is the first like big pieces. Putting in the gallery space, putting in your piece, erasing the background, and changing the colors so that it actually matches. I will do another one where you can put in a pedestal and put pieces on pedestals, and then also some other fun ways that you can change your pieces within the space. So with that, I'm going to stop my recording, and I'll see you soon.